Ladies, listen up. The world tells you to be nice, to fit in, to wait for love to find you. But that's a lie. A high-value woman does not chase, she attracts. She does not beg, she chooses. And she does not shrink, she rises. If you want to command the respect, love, and success you deserve, then stay with me. Because today, I'm going to tell you exactly how to become that woman. The kind of woman who walks into a room, and the whole world takes notice. There's something dangerously beautiful about a woman who knows her worth. She walks into a room and people feel her presence before she even speaks. It's not arrogance, it's certainty. It's the knowing that she is not here to be chosen but to choose. That she is not here to beg for attention but to command respect. Yet too many women shrink themselves, handing out discounts on their worth like a clearance sale. Why? Because someone told them they were too much, too confident, too bold, too independent, too successful. But let me ask you, who benefits when you make yourself small? Certainly not you. Picture this. A woman sits across from a man at dinner. She is elegant, intelligent, and kind. She laughs at his jokes, listens to his stories, and brings warmth to the conversation. But when the bill arrives, so does his true character. He slides it toward her, smirking. You're a modern woman, right? Equality and all that? She pauses, smiles, and then says, oh, sweetheart, equality isn't me paying for dinner. It's you recognizing that a woman like me is an investment, not an expense. And with that, she stands up and walks away. That's a woman who knows her worth and adds tax. Because the truth is, life will always test you. It will throw people at you who will try to see just how little you will accept, how far you will bend, how many times you will let them cross the lines of respect. And every time you allow it, you silently tell the world, I am available for this treatment. But when you know your worth, you don't waste time proving it. You simply refuse to accept anything less. Think about diamonds. A diamond doesn't beg to be valued. It doesn't sit in a store window hoping someone will see its beauty. It just is, rare, untouchable, and worth every penny. The ones who can afford it, the ones who understand its value, will pay the price. The ones who can't, well, they can admire from a distance. And yet so many women are like diamonds trapped in the wrong hands. Polished, stunning, but given away for nothing. A woman settles for a job that underpays her because she doesn't want to ask for a raise. She stays in a relationship where she's treated like an option because she fears being alone. She accepts friends who drain her energy because she doesn't want to seem difficult. But tell me, when did being difficult become a bad thing? Since when did demanding what you deserve become something to be ashamed of? Imagine this. A young woman is at work. She's been at her job for 3 years, outperforming everyone, taking on extra responsibilities, and proving her brilliance. Yet, when promotion time comes, her male colleague, who does the bare minimum, gets it instead. She could swallow her disappointment, accept her fate, and keep working harder, hoping someone notices. Or, she could walk into that office, look her boss straight in the eye, and say, I know what I bring to this company, and if you can't recognize it, someone else will. That is knowing your worth. That is adding tax. When you truly understand your value, you stop being afraid of losing people. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't respect you. You stop feeling guilty for expecting more. And the best part, when you start treating yourself like a woman of worth, the world has no choice but to follow. Think of the most powerful women in history. Do you think they asked permission to take up space? Do you think they hesitated before demanding what they deserved? No. They owned their worth. They didn't negotiate their greatness. They didn't apologize for their success. And neither should you. Your time, your energy, your love. These are luxuries, not freebies. You are not a trial version that people get to test and throw away when they are done. You are the full package, the premium edition, the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And anyone who wants access to you needs to pay the full price. Picture a woman standing in front of a mirror, adjusting her dress before a big event. She takes one last look at herself and whispers, I am a force. I am a woman of standards. I am not here to impress. I am here to be remembered. And the moment she steps outside, the world feels it. Because when you finally realize just how powerful, valuable, and rare you are, everything changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you choose differently, and most importantly, you never settle again. There is a power that very few people ever master. It is not in loud words, not in dramatic gestures, not in shouting to be heard. It is in silence. The kind of silence that makes people uncomfortable. The kind of silence that demands respect. The kind of silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. Most people waste their energy trying to explain themselves, trying to prove their worth, trying to argue their side of the story. But a woman who has mastered the art of silence knows that real power is in restraint. She doesn't need to tell the world who she is. She shows it. She doesn't need to beg for respect. She commands it. Imagine this. A woman walks into a room and instead of announcing her presence, she simply exists. Graceful, poised, unshaken. She doesn't rush to fill the silence with meaningless chatter. She doesn't force herself into conversations just to be noticed. And yet, people notice. They wonder who she is. They feel her energy. They sense her confidence. Because silence is a language only the strong can speak fluently. In a world that constantly pressures women to explain, justify, and prove themselves, there is nothing more powerful than a woman who chooses silence. A woman who doesn't argue with fools. A woman who doesn't react to disrespect. A woman who doesn't waste words where action is enough. Think of a queen. A queen doesn't scream for attention. She doesn't lower herself to pettiness. She sits on her throne, watches and decides. And when she does speak, every word is calculated, measured, and full of weight. That is the power of a woman who knows when to be silent. Picture a woman in a relationship. She catches her man lying to her. He starts explaining, over-explaining, twisting words, making excuses. She could yell, she could cry, she could argue. But instead she does something far more powerful. She pauses. She looks him in the eye. She lets the silence hang between them, thick with unspoken words. And in that silence he realizes something terrifying. She is not going to beg for honesty. She is not going to fight for something that should have been hers freely. And that silence, it is louder than any argument she could have ever had. A woman who understands silence never chases closure. She doesn't sit around waiting for an apology that may never come. She doesn't replay conversations in her head wondering what she should have said. She simply lets it be. Because she knows that silence is an answer too. Think about nature. The ocean doesn't explain why it's powerful, it just is. A lion doesn't beg to be feared, it just is. And a high-value woman doesn't demand respect, she embodies it. Silence is also the greatest weapon against those who try to break you. They expect a reaction, they expect you to scream, to fight, to lose control, but when you respond with silence, they are left powerless. It frustrates them, it confuses them, it forces them to sit alone with their own guilt. Because nothing is more unsettling than a woman who simply walks away without another word. Imagine a workplace. A woman gets overlooked for a promotion she knows she deserved. She could complain, she could cry about the unfairness. Instead, she does something even smarter. She stays silent, keeps working, and within months she is so undeniable that another company offers her double the salary, and just like that, her silence turns into her greatest victory. People often think silence is weakness. But real silence, the kind that comes from control, confidence, and wisdom, is the loudest thing in the world. It makes people listen when you finally do speak. It makes people respect your presence. And most importantly, it makes you untouchable. There is a reason why mystery is attractive. A woman who talks too much, explains too much, reveals too much, she gives away her power. But a woman who speaks when necessary and remains silent when needed, she is unforgettable. Imagine a social gathering. A group of people is gossiping, tearing someone down. A woman listens but says nothing. She doesn't join the conversation, doesn't feed into the negativity. And because she stays quiet, everyone wonders, what is she thinking? And just like that, she becomes the most intriguing person in the room. Silence is not just about saying nothing. It's about saying everything without speaking at all. It's the way you walk away from what no longer serves you. It's the way you ignore the ones who try to break you. It's the way you let them wonder what's on your mind. Because the truth is, When they don't know what you're thinking, they fear what you're capable of. Some battles are won, not by fighting, but by refusing to engage. Some of the greatest moments of power come not from speaking, but from pausing. And some of the strongest women in history were not the ones who shouted the loudest, but the ones who spoke only when necessary. The moment you start chasing something, you are telling the universe that it is running away from you. And why would a high-value woman ever run after anything? A woman who knows her worth doesn't chase, she attracts. She is like gravity, effortless, undeniable, and impossible to ignore. She doesn't scream for attention. She becomes someone people can't help but notice. Imagine walking into a room and commanding presence without saying a word. You're not the loudest. You're not the one trying to impress everyone. But people feel your energy. They feel the confidence radiating from you. They want to know who you are. That's what it means to attract. You don't beg for people's time. You don't force connections. You don't try to prove your worth. You just exist in your power. And the right people, the right opportunities, the right energy, they come to you. Think about a queen. A queen doesn't run after a king. She holds herself in such high regard that the king recognizes her value and comes to her. A queen doesn't convince people of her worth. She simply carries herself in a way that makes them recognize it on their own. That is the mindset of a high-value woman. Picture a woman in love. She texts him first every time. She constantly asks when they can meet. She adjusts her schedule, cancels plans, and puts in all the effort. What happens? He loses interest. He sees her as too available, too eager, too desperate. Now imagine a different woman. One who is so busy living her best life that he has to fight for a moment of her time. She's not ignoring him. She's just focused on herself. And suddenly, he can't stop thinking about her. He wonders what she's doing, who she's with, what's on her mind. That's the power of attraction. People don't chase what's easy to get. They chase what they fear losing. If you make yourself too available, too accessible, too willing to please, people take you for granted. But the moment you step back, the moment you start prioritizing yourself, everything shifts. They start noticing you. They start valuing your presence. They start wondering why you are so unbothered, why you aren't trying so hard. And that mystery, it's magnetic. Think of a job interview. A woman walks in nervous, desperate to be hired. She says everything they want to hear, agrees to every condition, lowers her standards just to get the job. The company sees her eagerness and offers her the bare minimum. But then there's another woman. She walks in confident, knowing she is an asset. She doesn't beg for the job. She talks about what she brings to the table. She knows her worth and adds tax. And because of that, the company offers her more just to secure her. That's attraction. That's the power of standing in your value. The same applies to friendships. Ever notice how the people you chase the most are the ones who pull away? The more you try to prove your loyalty, the more they overlook you. But the moment you start living for yourself, the moment you stop checking in so much, the moment you stop being the one who always gives, suddenly they realize your absence. They start calling, they start asking what's changed. That's attraction. Even in the animal kingdom, the lioness doesn't chase, she waits. The strongest, most dominant males fight for her attention. She doesn't run after them. She doesn't beg for their time. She stands tall, fierce, unshaken. And because of that, they recognize her as the prize. That's the mindset of a high-value woman. Chasing is rooted in fear. Fear of being alone, fear of missing out, fear of not being enough. Attraction is rooted in power. The power of knowing you deserve more than breadcrumbs. Think about the most successful women in the world. Do they chase after validation? Do they run after people who don't see their worth? No. They focus on building themselves. They focus on their purpose. And because they do that, people come to them. Brands want to collaborate with them. Powerful people want to connect with them. Opportunities flow to them effortlessly. That is the power of attraction. There is nothing more desirable than a woman who is so focused on her own happiness, her own growth, her own success, that she does not need anyone to complete her. She is already whole. She doesn't chase love, but love finds her. She doesn't chase opportunities, but doors open for her. She doesn't chase friendships, but the right people gravitate towards her. You do not need